Many of these natural features we see pictures of are unbelievable, like the crystal clear waters of the Klamath River Basin. Amazing nature becomes a little more believable after seeing it in person, and it can be further demystified by learning about it. When learning about these photogenic and clear waters, an unusual underwater bacteria plays an important part. Today we will seek out this rare and unusual organism called the mare's egg. While this species of interest can be found in a few places, today's search is at the Klamath River Basin. The northern part of the river basin has some waterways with very pure water that mare's eggs prefer. Most of these waters end up in the Klamath Reservoir, where they remain stagnant and warm up, causing less pure water and even toxic algae blooms. Uphill from these waters is Crater Lake, which has no outlet leading to the springs. But below ground, the water does leak out, feeding aquifers in all directions. Long ago, this was Mount Mazama. While the mountain peak is gone, a large outer slope is left over, which does feed nearby waterways. Crater Lake has some pretty nice blue water, but no mare's eggs. Instead, it has many other species of algae. The lake is too deep for mare's eggs, which sink to the bottom of the water and rely on sunlight. With the goal of seeking out the mare's eggs, I set off early in the morning, or late at night. Mare's egg is just a nickname of unknown origin, and may make some think we are looking to extract eggs from a horse. The real species name is Nostoc pruniform, and it is a type of cyanobacteria. These are a large form of blue-green algae that require specific conditions to grow. The pristine, clear waters that they prefer often draw in way too many people. This is why I set off so early. Mornings and off days give a better chance of less distractions and a more pure nature experience. Early morning at a creek usually brings in a symphony of bird songs. But it is a little more surprising when knowing that this is a dry, high desert, low nutrient habitat. Mare's eggs thrive in certain conditions, and one of those conditions is the clear, nutrient-poor water. This means less bugs and plant life for the birds, and an opening for the mare's eggs to move in. But there seems to be just enough for these birds to be happy, and the mare's eggs play a part in that. The best way to find mare's eggs is being on the water. They tend to stick to the bottom of the creek bed in large colonies. You may be wondering, why is this man kayaking with a shovel? Well, it's actually an advanced mare's egg biology tool used by adventurers that forgot their kayak paddles at home. Some kind of flotation device is a must, as this water is way too cold to swim in. Cold water is one of a few specific conditions preferred by mare's eggs. They take a while to grow, so the best water for them is consistently cold year-round. Some of the creek water has too much other algae and nutrients for mare's eggs to thrive. Once you start looking for bacteria, you really notice all the different kinds that are out there. Another good sign of a mare's egg possibility is the clear blue water. Water like this comes from a lack of bacteria that is present in most water we see. When water looks like this, it is usually close to its underground spring source. Water coming from underground is both cold and not nutrient rich. With no competing algae, the mare's egg thrives by getting maximum sunlight. At this point, I felt despair and gloom, knowing I may never see a mare's egg. Not really. I was surrounded in them, and needed to stretch the video out a bit for ad revenue. If not knowing what you're looking for, they could easily be overlooked. At first glance, they could look like a group of creek bed rocks, but instead, these are thousands of mare's eggs. Mare's eggs, or no-stalk pruniform, are a type of cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria is a type of bacteria that produces its own food through photosynthesis. A byproduct of that process is oxygen, which benefits all living things. So in this habitat, the mare's egg takes in sunlight to produce oxygen and contribute to the food web, while not consuming and taking away from it. This habitat seems to be very ideal for the mare's egg, since they grow to baseball size, which is on the higher end. As they grow, they multiply by budding many smaller ones on the outer shell, that later detach to be their own mare's eggs. The outer shell is a hard and protective layer, while the inside is mostly hollow, with some water and a jelly or egg-like substance. There is a lot of variance in ages, sizes, and conditions of this colony. The older and damaged ones seem to be bunched together, while young healthy ones formed their own groups too. Mare's eggs tend to live anywhere from a few to 15 years. Since this is an ideal environment for them, these decaying ones are probably right around 15 years old. For a bit of culture and history, Asian New Year's celebrations have included eating these or other similar blue-green algae. So for your viewing pleasure, I am going to pick the tastiest one and eat it on camera. I didn't find any that looked too appetizing, which is good because it turns out these can be pretty toxic and melt your liver. In addition to probably a bad idea to eat, there is the blue-green algae factor. Many lakes like Klamath Falls become victims to harmful blue-green algae blooms. These blooms come from similar organisms, usually in still warm water. Signs of a toxic algae bloom are the water having a strange color and smell, as well as physical algae visible, and dead fish. When this is happening, it is recommended for all to stay out of the water. Toxic algae bloom contact can cause rashes, hives, eye and nose irritation, sore throat, and coughing. Swallowing toxin can cause stomach pain, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Certain cyanotoxins can damage the liver and nervous system. Ingesting contaminated meat can lead to paralysis, seizures, or even death. Back to the pure and cold waters of the mare's eggs. That footage of my family kayaking at Klamath Falls was not during a toxic algae bloom, I think. The pure water that the mare's eggs prefer usually comes from a spring-fed source. Water closer to the spring source just came from a dark and deep underground place, which is the preferred cold temperature. Springs like this come straight up from the aquifer below, usually from pressure building up and forcing the water to find a way out. It bubbles out just like a hot spring, but no underground magma heating involved. Spring water is also very clean compared to an above-ground stream, which carries all kinds of sediment with it. This one is actually a sacred place to the Klamath tribes. I knew that because of the sign. I couldn't find a source on why this place specifically is sacred. I could guess that the pure water reminds one of what things used to look like before we made our mark on them. The spring and the mare's eggs together make this a very special habitat. It's the start of a long path of creeks, rivers, and lakes which have a big impact on everything. Recently, the Klamath tribe has been working to further protect this area. This is a fragile habitat, and while the eggs aren't endangered, they are rare, especially at these large sizes. In addition to the eggs, trout and salmon life cycles rely on these waters. A lot of damage has been done, so it's always worth considering protective efforts, even if Uncle Billy commented on Facebook that his freedom would be taken away by this. Recreation restrictions may be added to things like fishing and commercial guides. As I cover different natural places of interest, a common theme often seems to be places being loved to death. One regret I have is pulling out a couple mare's eggs to have a look. That could have a negative impact that we should probably avoid if possible. While these waters are becoming overused, the mare's eggs continue to play an important role in a healthy habitat. The cyanobacteria called no-stalk pruniform both supports and relies on the special conditions of this photogenic nature. Thanks to the big and small parts of this nature, we get to enjoy it and gain a sense of peace and wonder from it.